back to another episode of the Battle Inside podcast. My name is Chris America. I am your host. This show is basically following me on a journey. It's been molded and shaped and reevaluated and analyzed and overanalyzed and construed by myself and others in my life. But this is just a podcast about my traumas, my life, my mental health, and just things that are going on in my life, things that affect me in a good way, things that affect me in a negative way. And I believe this is episode 16. I got to go back and look. I'm pretty sure this is episode 16. So for those who have listened to all 16 episodes, I thank you. It's been an interesting experience for me. It's been almost 3 months. It is July 1st today, and Monday, July 1st, and it'll be almost 3 months. It's been 3 months, almost to the day, since my ex came home from her parents' house and told me that we were done, we were finite, we were over. I remember April Fools, we, on Scout Team Radio, tried to do a Kim Kardashian joke to make it look like we changed our show to Kim Kardashian Show. And just thinking back to that time, so much has happened since then. And so I'm just going to get into that. Going to get into right into the update of what's been going on. Man, just saying that out loud, just putting myself mentally, I was actually doing fine. And then just putting myself in that time period of April 1st. I remember exactly what I was doing, what I was thinking, how I had to fake it through that show. And as you guys know now, after I've told you my mental loop, my world was turned upside down the week before. It was Monday the week before that I basically found out she was deleting messages from that guy Juan, and then it was a whole week of hell of me trying to figure out our relationship, where we're going, and can you please just stop talking to this guy? And then she never did, and so it led to her going to her parents' house to quote unquote figure things out, but I mean, there's no sense in rehashing the loop, even though now it's, oh, God. I was having a good day until I had to put myself there mentally. It's been a while since I've focused on that part of the story that much as like an isolated event, and felt the emotions again of what it was like to have, like, in a matter of 1 week, I went from us having no kids on spring break. We had a really great time, just her and I, and we had that weekend, and then it was just a week of hell, and then on Monday, April the 1st, my whole life was turned upside down in 1 week. 3 years of a relationship just completely wiped clean in a matter of 1 week, without hesitation, without thought, without prejudice, just gone, executed. And it's been something that I haven't isolated back to those feelings in a really long time, because I've been so focused on all the other BS that's happened in the 3 months since. Give me a second. Sorry, I need to readjust and recompose myself and burp a couple of times. Now I'm stuck there. I'm stuck on April 1st. I'm stuck on where I was. God, why did that happen? All right, I'm going to try to move forward with the show. Sorry, I can't edit these out because my Audacity's not working right, and I'm on GarageBand, and I have not taken the time to figure out how to edit GarageBand properly. So it's just going to be that long, dead silence, which makes for great radio. Update. So last you guys heard is I was trying to overcome the new trauma in my life. And the update on that is no, not happening. Nowhere close. I started a new loop, and it's what happened that week combined with what happened over the last 3 months, combined with what happened to me in 2005, two traumas are now married together. The idea of a woman telling me that she loves me and cares about me and is not going anywhere and is always going to be there for me, and anything of that sort, any woman telling me that she has feelings for me puts me in a panic. It gets my anxiety going just thinking about it. And I feel, sorry, I'm at a loss for words now because I'm still stuck on April 1st, 2019. So I'm going to power my way through it. Like right now, all I'm thinking in my head is like, Jesus, like, how the hell did I go from married in January 1st, 2019, I rung in the new year with Jen and our boys and our downstairs neighbors. And damn it, if you would have told me this is where I'd be July 1st, oh my. January 1st, I had plans of marrying Jen on January 9th. She had spent roughly around 2 or 3 months trying to reassure me and trying to comfort me into us getting married being an okay idea, that I can release my fears, that she's not going anywhere, that I can trust her. And now, 7 months later, or 6 months later, July 1st, I'm sitting here wondering what happened to me on April 1st, or March 30th, or 31st. I don't know how many days are in March. She spent as much time convincing me to get married as we did being actually married. We got married January 9th, and we split up by April 1st. It's not even 90 days. And it took 1 week. 1 week to erase one week to erase marriage vows that were said 2 months ago, or 2 months prior, or less than 3 months prior. And then 1 week to just wipe away an entire relationship, a 3-year relationship, and to wipe away an entire family. It took 1 week, one guy to slide into her DMs, or for her to slide into his DMs. I really don't care anymore. It took 1 week of that to just erase it all. And now I'm stuck. I brought up April 1st, and I'm stuck. This is what anxiety, this is what ADHD, this is what depression, this is whatever mental illness makes me stuck. This is what this looks like. And this is the point of the show, and I know I've said it multiple times. Before I go into that, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist licensed. I'm nobody. I'm just Chris America, a stupid guy trying to do a podcast that helps himself and helps other people by just showing you the story, showing you what it really looks like. The way that I do this is I just want you to see it, because I don't think that giving you statistics, I don't think giving you book knowledge on these things, I don't think when you just hear about trauma, it affects you very well. It's like when you hear that there's a 10-car pileup and you hear it on the news, it's just a quick blurb, there's a 10-car pileup on the interstate, 5 people died, and you will feel something, and there'll be a thought there, and then it's gone. It doesn't stick with you. It doesn't resonate with you. It doesn't show you the true horror of it. But if I were to take you down to that 10-car accident, and you were to see fires, and you were to see bodies strewn all over the place, and you were to see people impaled, and you were to see the horror of the 10-car pileup, and you were to see all 5 people dying and everything else, it would impact you in a way that stays with you for the rest of your life. And that is what I'm trying to do with this show, is just open the window to what trauma and childhood abuse and fatherly abandonment and what divorces look like and what cheating looks like and what children who are left abandoned by their stepmother or stepfather, children who are abandoned by their fathers or their mothers. I'm showing you what that looks like. Because when you hear people say, oh, don't worry about the kids, they'll get through it with therapy and stuff, or don't worry about the kids, and don't worry about this, and don't worry about that, just go do you to make you happy. when I hear that advice, it means that that person's never seen it. Or if they have, they just chose to ignore it. But so I'm trying to show others, like, this is what happens to a 10-year-old boy who forms a relationship with a mother, and that person just vanishes on him. And that's why I tell you that he's rolled up in a ball, crying his eyes out in the dark in his bedroom. Not because I'm looking for sympathy, but because I need the world to see that it's not just you get divorced and the kid cries and then eventually he gets over it. It's more than that, and we need to see it. And so, once again, this is just me opening up. Just understand that I have no hidden motives or agenda other than just to open myself up to the world to help me, because I've lived my life in silence. I've lived my traumas in silence. I've lived my abuse in silence. I've lived my mental illness in silence, and I can't be quiet anymore. And to help you, because when you see other shows and you see the news and you hear statistics like every 22 seconds a veteran dies. And yes, you hear that, and that impacts you in a small way. Or not every 22 seconds a veteran dies. Every 22 seconds a veteran commits suicide. And that impacts you in a way, but not in a big way. Not if I actually showed you a suicide note from a veteran. Not if I had that veteran, before he took his life, tell you everything of what was on his mind and what led to him or her to take their life. Then it would have an impact on you. And so while my problems are nowhere near that of a veteran, and I don't want anybody to confuse or tell me that that's what I'm trying to do here, my problems are not what a veteran who's seen some crazy stuff in war. I'm not trying to compare it. I'm just trying to tell you that I'm just doing from what my world perspective. I can't give you what that veteran can give you. I would love to have a veteran on my show one day who struggles with this and has attempted or contemplated or tried to commit suicide or to take their own life. One day I hope to have that person on there so they can share their window and we can peek into their lives, and so you can understand what that's like. But right now, I can only focus on me. I only have time for me. And right now, it's just I'm trying to get through my stuff to where I can finally have other people on, and I will. I promise. It's not just going to be all about Chris America. So I think I'm good now. I think I've distanced myself from April 1st to finally get back on track. I sent Jen an email because we got the divorce papers, or she filed for divorce the same day she filed for the false domestic violence injunction against me. If this is your first episode, I can only ask you to please go listen to the episode called The Truth Will Set You Free. I believe that's episode 14. Please go listen to that. You can find it at scoutteamradio.com. Click the Battle Inside tab, and all the episodes are listed there. For some reason, when you're on the phone, they're listed out of order. I don't know if it's just my phone or other phones, but if you're on a computer, they should still be in order. But just follow the titles. They'll say TBI episode 15, 14, 13, 12, whatever. Or you can just scroll through Scout Team Radio channel. You'll have to scroll through our Scout Team Radio podcast, but please click those and listen when you have time too, because they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of entertainment. It's been a fun summer. Anyways, that's ADHD going. But just scroll through, look for TBI episode 14. The Truth Will Set You Free. So where was I going with that? I don't know. But I sent her an email saying before I sign the divorce papers, I want to make sure that this list of items are agreed to you for me to take, because I don't want to fight you in court for them, and I don't want to sign divorce papers, and then when I go to get that stuff, you say, well, you didn't ask for this stuff in the divorce, so now you can take it. And so she pretty much agreed to everything. And I told her, look, when I come to get that stuff, I don't want you there. I can't look at you. I am disgusted by you. I can't be in the same room as you. I just can't. Not after what you pulled last week. Not after you lied to the court and you lied to the judge to tell them that I'm a domestic violent threat to you when that's not true. And I said, like, so if you don't trust me there by myself, then you can have a third party there that I'll agree upon, and we'll go from there. But I can't right now. And her response was, I didn't lie. You were stalking me. And so this is where the new loop is. It's That's a part of it. So my new loop now, my battle with my new loop that I'm trying to get rid of is now it's not the full like detail by detail. Remember in my first loop I did 2 hours of like minuscule item by minuscule item. Now it's just a chunk of items, just grouped into large chunks. Like, you got married to me. You said you weren't going anywhere. You spent 2 months trying to convince me to marry you, or trying to convince me that it's okay to get married, that you're not going anywhere, that you understand my fears, you understand my past, you understand my walls, but that Chris, I'm not that person. I'm going to work on this marriage no matter what. And then flash forward to just under 90 days. Just under 90 days, you flash forward to you talking to some guy, flirting with him, telling me that it's not fair that you have to stop talking to him, telling me that he's just a friend, almost like a gay friend, and then telling me that we're done when I tell you that if you can't put an end to him, then I don't want to be with you. And then you come back and you say, it's done. And I know that the whole time that you're over there, you're still talking to him. And you didn't give me or my son or your son a fair shot. And then it flashes forward to her making out with her supposed gay friend, Juan. Like, he's such a gay friend, but yet you're making out with him. And then flash forward to you apologizing, and then not apologizing, and then apologizing, and then just telling me this whole time that you didn't leave me for Juan, that you didn't leave me for Juan, that you didn't leave me for Juan. Yet I can just sit there and go over it all over and over and over again, that like you manipulated your way to have Juan into the conversation, and then when I tried to tell you to get rid of him, you tried to manipulate me several times to keep Juan into your life. And when I wouldn't give that up, when I stood my ground that no, like, you have to stop talking to this guy, you left me. Or when I asked you, will you stop talking to him or I'll leave, you chose him. You knew that was the ultimatum, and you chose him. You didn't choose me. And then you threw me out of your life, and then you kept him in your life. And this is the loop. This is what happens. This is where I get stuck. This is what happens. This is where I get stuck. I can't get over it now. It's like, ah. And so then you flash forward to your last apology and kicking my son out of the picture. And then when I try to tell you about it, you tell me that it's unhealthy. You tell me it's unhealthy. Oh my God, how many times did you tell me what we're doing, what us trying to get back to a friendship level to where we can be in the kid's life is not healthy for the kids. It's not healthy for us. It's not healthy this. It's not healthy that. Yet you can snatch a kid's life and break it in half and turn it upside down and throw him out basically onto the streets, or be so rude to his dad that the neighbor has to tell you to stop being rude. And then you're so rude to his dad, and then you make his dad feel like he should be feared by telling him that you can't trust me around your son, and that I can't pick up your son that Friday that you were coming home, that somebody else has got it. And then you tell me that you're going to stay downstairs with the neighbor, even though I wasn't home anymore, but you're going to stay downstairs because somehow hearing that I'm suicidal on a podcast makes me the most dangerous person on earth, and you couldn't even be anywhere near me. And so basically, I had no choice but to leave and to go somewhere else because you were so toxic to me and so toxic to my son that I had to go. And then we flash forward to me finally getting freedom from the loop that I talked about in episode 12. That loop, I finally had 48 hours of freedom, and you couldn't take my freedom. You couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle the shame. You couldn't handle the guilt. And so you made me wear a scarlet letters of DV on my chest for the rest of my life. And people try to tell me, Chris, it's not that big of a deal. Get over it. Move on. You don't understand. Anybody can go to the county I live in and search my name in the clerk of courts, and that's going to pop up. You're going to see my divorces, you're going to see some other things, and then you're going to see domestic violence injunction filed against Chris America. And they can click on it, and they can read it, and they'll say it's dismissed, and then they can make up their own mind as to why it was dismissed. Was it dismissed because of a technicality? Was it dismissed because of lack of evidence? Was it dismissed because I lied to the judge? Why was it dismissed? They're not going to know that it was dismissed because Jen couldn't handle that a podcast called her and her friend and her little whatever he is, Juan. She couldn't handle it. None of them, the three of them, could not handle it. And so the way they were going to take care of it is to make me wear the scarlet letters DV for the rest of my life. And the fact that she's telling me that she did not lie, that I was stalking her, means she's telling other people that she didn't lie and that I am a domestic violence threat. And so now I can't go into the running community. I can't go to races because of her popularity in the running world. I want to so bad to start running again. But now I feel like when I go through those races, I have to wonder who's looking at me like the person who went through hell. Who's looking at me like the person who went through hell because Jen lied and threw domestic violence injunction on me and told everybody in the world and the judge that I am a domestic violent threat, that I am somebody that is supposed to be feared, that her son's life should be feared, and that her life should be feared by me from domestic violence. Or are they going to look at me and say, there's the guy who is a wife beater, or at the very least is dangerous and is threatening to be a wife beater or a child abuser? It's one thing to have people look at you and think, whatever, he's ugly, he's wearing his stupid shirt, his shoes are stupid, he's whatever, he's got a funny nose. It's one thing to think that. I don't care about that. It's another thing to go about your life looking at people who aren't going to say anything to you one way or the other. They're not going to come up to you and say, Chris, I believe you, I support you. Or they're not going to come up and say, Chris, you are a piece of S. You are trash. Why did you make Jen's life so miserable that she had to go get protection? You're lucky that the judge wouldn't give her the case because I believe you're a domestic violent threat too, and you're suicidal, and you're this, and you're that. No, they're just going to quietly think it. And I have to look at a crowd of people and wondering who sees me as what. And I feel like people are doing, I understand what you're doing. I get it. I appreciate it. You're trying to calm me down by saying it's not a big deal. You're saying that people can't look this up. You're saying all the right things. I get it. But what I need everybody to understand is I don't need you to calm me down. I need you to tell me that I have every right to be this way right now. I need you to just understand. Having domestic violence next to my name hurts more than anything. Having people think that that's what I am. And so I told you that the two incidents in 2005 and today are married to each other. For those of you who don't know, I was sexually abused as a kid. In 2005, I got drunk one night. I made a post. The person who did it saw the post, hunted me down. I told him where I was because I was finally ready to face him. And he, as soon as he got out of the car, he ran up to me, punched me, knocked me down. I can't remember the rest. I believe I got kicked a few times. I remember I kept getting up and screaming at him, saying, do your worst because you've already done more than you could ever know. But honestly, that night, I'm realizing now, because it's now playing in my head all the time, it's something that after a few years, I just forgot about, or I just pushed to the back of my brain, or I buried into a shallow grave, like everything else in my life. And so I never thought about it unless people asked, like, well, what happened here, or what's going on with this, and I'd have to answer them. And I didn't even really give them much of an answer. Just said, this, or that. But now, ever since Jen went down to the courthouse, because that person beat me to silence me. That person beat me because they were ashamed, and they felt whatever it was that they felt. I know I was that they felt. I get it now. But they had all of that, and they wanted to take it out on me, and they wanted me to shut up. And they got it, because the post got taken down, and I never mentioned it again for the next 10 or 15 years, really. I was shut up. I was silent from 6, for the most part. I was silent from 6 until 2005, and then I decided to open up, and then I was silenced. And now Jen is doing the same thing. Jen couldn't handle her shame. Jen couldn't handle her guilt. She couldn't handle the pain that she caused me. And so instead of just saying, I get it and I'm sorry, she attacked me. But she's not physically able to hunt me down and beat my ass. So she had to do the next best thing, and that was to go down to the court system and fight me that way and label me a domestic violence threat and everything else. And there are a lot of you who support me. There are a lot of you who tell me that they believe me, but I just feel so isolated that nobody just truly gets it. I tell people I'm broken now, and they're like, no, you're just hurt. Like, no, I am broken now. My hardwire, emotionally and mentally, they're screwed up now. They're mismanaged. This isn't me being guarded anymore. I talked about walls, I believe, in episode 4. This isn't walls. This is different. This is panic. This is every time I think about her or I think about another person promising me the world, promising me their heart, and promising me their love, how can I trust it? How do I know it's not going to just end in this again? And it's messed up. I know. I get it. It's not fair to other people. And I get it. Jen is in the extreme minority of women or men who actually take these measures. Because the rest of us understand how serious of a charge that is. The rest of us respect those who have been domestically abused. We respect them enough to never, ever make it harder for them to be believed. And I know that that's what the most of us do, but damn it, it's hard. And so now every day I play 2005, and it gets married up with her and what she did, and it's just I have to press on every single day to keep doing this show, to keep talking to others, because right now I want to be silenced. My anxiety wants me to be silenced. And a lot of you don't realize it when you say this, but a lot of you are trying your best to give me advice, but honestly, it comes off as you telling me to be silent, by you saying, Chris, just don't talk about it anymore, and she'll go away. Stop talking about her. Stop talking about what's going on with you there. Just move on to other things. And it's just basically like you're saying, she gets to win. And I know that's not what you're saying, but that's how I'm interpreting it. And in a lot of ways, it is what you're saying. And we say this to a lot of people. Just move on. Just forget about it. Just think about other things. Instead of just addressing it and taking care of it and doing what needs to be done. And so another way that a lot of people have been giving me this advice is I've decided, and I ran it by my therapist, that I'm going to meet the district attorney at some point. I got to call him after the show, or her. I don't know what it is. I got to call them and schedule an appointment so I can turn over those text messages and ask for perjury charges against Jen. And a lot of people have said, Chris, don't waste your time. Don't give her any more of your energy. Don't go tit for tat. And I have to tell you, it's frustrating hearing that because it makes me feel like she committed a crime against me. She went down to the courtroom and lied. She went down and committed a crime to silence me. And now you're telling me that I have to just not do anything about it. Or not try to do anything about it. And it makes me feel like you don't understand I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. I wanted to say veracity, but I don't think that's it. The weight of the impact that lie, that crime had on me in my life, and the way that I think now, and the way that I act, and the way that I react. And I want you to understand, I'm not going to get perjury charges because I think it'll make me feel better. I'm not going to get back at her. I'm not going to hopefully think that she's going to go to jail. I'm going because I need the truth to be heard, and I need the truth to be on record. I cannot stand living in a world where she gets to believe that she didn't do anything wrong, and I can't stand being in a world that she gets to go around and tell other people that I'm a domestic violence threat. And that I have to go around now. And if I want to go for a job interview that looks into that kind of thing, or if I want to go on a date with a new woman, where if I finally do get over this whole thing, and I finally do get to a point where I'm healed enough to go and be in a relationship with a woman, and I meet someone that hasn't been here throughout this part of my life, let's say I meet them 1 year from now, and then they're going to do the smart thing because I only I think that I only date smart, intelligent women. And those women are smart enough to look things up. And if you know that I live in the county that I live in, it's not hard. That's going to be the first place you're going to look. You're going to go to that county's clerk of court, and you're going to search my name in the court records to see if I have any arrests or anything like that. And then you're going to see right there in big, bold letters, domestic violence injunction against Chris. An ex-wife felt that this person was too dangerous, that she needed the help from the law to protect her from me. And she's going to see dismissed. But again, she can interpret it however the way she wants. And then I have to sit there and explain to them what happened and how it happened. And then I have to hope that they believe me. Because the reality is there's tons and tons and tons of men who are domestic violence abusers, who have needed that protection against them, and will just lie and say, that girl is crazy. She doesn't know what that stuff never happened. You know how the court is. They just believe women, and she railroaded me. And that's what I'm going to sound like. That is what I'm going to sound like. And if they don't believe me, I don't blame them. That is a huge red flag for any woman to see domestic violence injunction. And so I would love to have the ability to say, okay, now search her name here, and you see that she was charged and found guilty of perjury, and this is the outcome of it. She lied to the court because she didn't want the world to know, because she wanted to hurt me, because of whatever other reasons. They're scarlet letters, and they're a disease, and I have to heal from them. I have to find a way to accept them. I have to find a way to find peace with them, and I have to find a way to find peace with her and find forgiveness for her and find forgiveness for Juan. But right now, I am just not there. But I am going to press forward, and I am going to move on. And I guess the only thing I will say about it is it sucks that not many people are coming to my defense as far as she goes. A lot of people who believe me are playing, Switzerland. They want to remain neutral. They don't want to get involved. And I'm not really even asking them to. But if I'm honest with all of you, and I'm not saying this as like you need to go do this, because I'm not. I'm just telling you where my head is at. I'm giving you the inside look. I just wish upon anything that it was made abundantly clear to her that what she did was not okay. I just need a voice that I don't have with her. I can tell her till I'm blue in the face that this is how it affected me and you're fucked up for doing it. I don't have a voice with her. And I don't have a voice with everybody else in that area. That nobody's going to stand up for me and say, yes, I listened to that podcast and this is what happened. Chris read the text messages verbatim. I heard Jen's text messages. I heard his text messages. And even if you're still one of those people that's like, well, maybe Chris didn't really read the text messages. Maybe he made them up. I will email them to you. And I will send them out to you. I wish I could just plaster them over Facebook so that they're there, so I can just say, please, world, this is what I'm dealing with. Please believe me. And it's crazy because we lived in a world where abused children and abused women weren't believed. They were told that it was being made up. And now we're on this path of greatness where we're trying to start believing in women. We're trying to start believing in abused children and abused men. We're making great strides in helping people end that stigma of coming forward. But then there is an opposite side to that. And I don't want to take away from that. Please do not take that. But I can tell you now in a different way, I understand now what that's like. To go through that kind of hell and have wondering if anybody believes you. And then you have people telling you, Chris, don't pursue it because it will be a waste of your time. It will be a headache for you. It will cause you more stress and trauma. Don't pursue these charges because it'll cause you more stress and trauma. My answer to that is this, everybody, if you're listening to this. Just like with the veterans, I am not comparing what I'm going through to being abused, okay? I know the difference. I've been the difference. I've lived the difference. But I've seen cops do this when I worked security for Disney. I've seen cops tell women who are calling them to tell them that they've been raped that, are you sure you want to go through with these charges? Because if you go through with these charges, you're going to have to come back. You're going to have to testify. You're going to have to be a witness. You're going to have to make statements. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. And it's going to be a lot of hard work, and it might cause you more trauma. And I've seen that time and time again from police officers when I had to call them over because I had a female at the college I won't say their name, at the college program that I work for. I probably already said their name. So I'm sorry, Disney. Okay. I'm going to shut up now. Hopefully my podcast doesn't get that big to where they make us think about it. They have lawyers that Juan doesn't have that I'm not particularly interested in battling. Anyways, but they would be women that would be raped or accusing men of rape, and that's what the cops would tell them. Are you sure you want to go through with this? I'm going to tell you right now, don't ever give that person advice. Yes, it may cause more trauma, and yes, it is going to be harder on them. It's not going to make life easier. It's going to be harder. But when you tell them to not pursue it, not to stick up for themselves, not be a voice, not fight for their justice, you are silencing them. You are silencing them. And then you're making the person who did what they did, which was terribly wrong, and you're letting them know that it's okay to do what they did. And so I thought about this. I thought about the movie, I think it's called 127 Hours. If I'm off by like a couple of numbers, I'm sorry. But it's that movie where I think it's James Franco is out hiking in Utah. He gets trapped in a canyon, and he's stuck. And the whole movie is about him being stuck and wondering if he's going to get help, and he's there for 127 hours. When you tell somebody, don't fight anymore, don't give yourself a voice, you're basically telling them to stay stuck. And I don't want to give away any spoilers, but if you haven't seen the movie by now, you're probably never going to watch it. But eventually, he makes the decision to take out a knife and cut off his own arm, because that's what was stuck. It was his arm. I believe it was his arm. It could have been his leg. I don't know. He cuts off an appendage that's stuck to free himself and live. And he basically what I'm saying is he had to go through much more trauma and much more excruciating pain so that he could no longer be stuck. So that he didn't have to be dying away and wasting away in that canyon. That the only option he had was to put himself through more trauma and pain. Was it healthy? No, it's not healthy to cut off your own arm. Was it good? No, it's not good to cut off your own arm. Did it cause lots of pain? You're damn right it causes lots of pain to cut off your own arm. But he had to free himself. And I'm telling you, that's why I keep pushing forward. That's why when it's on my mind, I keep talking about her. That's why when I call the DA, that's why I'm going to keep pressing forward with this, because I have to. Yes, it's going to keep her on my mind. Yes, it's going to keep my focus there, but I have to unstick myself. I have to free myself. And sometimes that means you have to go through more pain in order to get to the other side of life, in order to continue living life the way that life is supposed to be lived. Because you're not supposed to live your life stuck in a canyon somewhere, dying, wasting away, waiting for your body to just keel over. You're supposed to live life free and everything else. And I'd rather live my life without one appendage and free and happy and live longer than to sit around anymore and not live my life, or live my life stuck in a canyon, wasting away with no hope, being isolated, being alone, having no voice, having nobody to hear me. I'm done being stuck in the canyon, and I'm ready to be free. And that's why I do the show. That's why I continue to go to therapy. And that's why I'm pushing forward with these DA charges. If the DA says, sorry, Chris, I don't have a case here, then that's fine. At least I tried. But I need a voice, and I need support, and I need love. I need people to stick up for me. I need people to tell me not only like, Chris, that's messed up. I need you to say like, I get it, Chris. I don't get it because I've never been through that. Most of you have never been through that. There are those who have, but the majority of us, statistics shows that the majority of us don't get accused of being a domestic violence threat when you're not. It just doesn't happen. At the end of the day, what do I want the end game to be? If honestly, I want her to realize the truth. And I want her to publicly admit the truth to everybody and to apologize to me publicly. Now, I'm pretty damn sure that's never going to happen on her own. She's had so many chances to do that privately, and she hasn't. All she's done is just manipulated her way through apologies and then doubled down on hurting me and getting back at me and making it worse for me for whatever reasons I do not know. And that's another part of my mental loop, is that my childhood abuse, sexual abuse, my dad's abandonment, her thing that happened in 2005, all of that was because they have their traumas, they have their BS, they have their shames, they have their guilts, and they, for whatever reason, I got to be the lucky punching bag for them to lash out in whatever way they found. For the person who sexually abused me, they went for sexual abuse. For my dad, he went to alcoholism, abandonment, and verbal abuse when he lived with me. And for Jen, she went with breaking my heart, continuously breaking my heart, continually blaming me, continually telling me it's because I'm not good enough, and because I don't make enough money, and I don't have a college degree. And then when I finally speak out against her, she decides to give me domestic violence, and she just continues to lash out her problems onto me. And I don't know what it is about me that makes everybody or these major people in my life decide to lash out on me. But that's what it is. That's what it is. It's people with trauma lashing out their trauma and putting it on me in a negative way. I'm used and abused. I get the brunt of their trauma. And I already told you that I did that too to my ex-wife, to Landon's mom, but I've apologized so many times. It's not okay to take your trauma out on people. It's just not. It's not okay to put your BS and your mental health and everything else out on people either. It's just not. And so I want to switch gears. I told you I would have lessons from Uncle Iroh, and I want to get through those real quick. Before I end the show. And Uncle Iroh and this show, the Avatar, really coincide with what I'm talking about today too, as I went through the clips that I wanted to play and everything. So you'll have to bear with me. I had to kind of finagle different things. So it might be a little choppy. And like I said, I don't have the ability to edit and stuff like that. Yeah, so to kind of give you a background. Hold on, I'm trying to set it up. See, it's going to be choppy. Okay. The show is called Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is a kids show, yes, but it is definitely for adults. It is by far one of the best TV series of all time. Don't at me. I will fight to the grave on this one. And what makes this show so great is, like I said, it's for kids, but it has so many layers of depth between storylines and characters and character development and story arches and things of that sort that it just blows you away. Yes, there's a lot of kid stuff in there, a lot of kid jokes. Some of them are funny, some of them are not. But underneath it is just a wealth of life lessons and life in general. And the cool thing about the show is that every single character in the show plays their part. There's not a single wasted character in the show, and the way they develop every single character, that you can basically reflect on every single character on the show, that there is a little bit of you inside each of the characters. And so the main characters that we're going to focus on right now is a character named Uncle Iroh and a character named Prince Zuko. Now, just to give you just a fast synopsis of what the Avatar: The Last Airbender is about, Avatar: The Last Airbender takes place in a world where there are 4 nations, fire, earth, wind, and water nations, or tribes, or whatever you want to call them. And there's one guy called the Avatar. And the Avatar is able to harness all 4 elements, and so they can do fire bending, earth bending, water bending, and wind bending, or air bending. And sorry, it's the air tribe, not the wind tribe. And so that Avatar is to keep balance in the world between the 4 elements. That if one nation decides to rise up, he's there to kind of help take care of it and say, dude, stop doing that. Like, we all need each other, peace, love, and harmony. Well, the Avatar is also a part of, like, karma. So when the Avatar dies, he gets reincarnated as a new Avatar. And when Aang, the Avatar in this time period, is 12, he finds out he's the Avatar. He runs away. He gets caught up in a storm, and he's in a block of ice for 100 years. And during that 100 years, the Fire Nation decides to rise up and attack the rest of the nation, and they pretty much are close to winning and taking over the rest of the world, and that's when Aang comes into play. Now, where do Uncle Iroh and Zuko come into play? Trying not to bore you guys with the nerd stuff. I'll get there. But Zuko is the prince of the Fire Nation, and he's been banished. He was in a war meeting as a kid, and he spoke out of turn, and his dad was angry about this. And so his dad challenged him to an Agni Kai, which is basically a fight. And so you have a grown Fire Lord who is fantastic at firebending, fighting his own son, who is not so good at firebending. And he basically burns his face to where there's a permanent scar on Zuko's face. And then he banishes him. He says, you are no longer allowed to be in the Fire Nation. And so Zuko, trying to reclaim his honor, finds that it's his destiny to capture the Avatar and bring him back to his father so that his honor and his place in the family can be restored. And Uncle Iroh is the Fire Lord's brother. And Uncle Iroh was to be the crowned king, but during one of the wars or one of the battles, his son dies. And so because of the loss of his son, he decides he doesn't want to be in the war anymore. He doesn't want to be a king anymore. And he just travels the world trying to find peace and trying to work out his grief. And so that's why his brother takes over. So now Uncle Iroh has returned. He's found his banished nephew, and he takes his nephew under his wing. I relate probably most to Prince Zuko because of the father issues and everything else. With Jen's son, I really wanted him to watch the show as well because he relates to Zuko as well. And we started watching it, and unfortunately we didn't get a chance to finish it because you guys know why. But it's just basically we're just 2 boys that want their fathers to notice them and love them and tell them that they're proud of them, and they won't do it. And that's what Zuko's dad is. And so Iroh is a good guy, but he's on the bad guy's side. And the only reason why he's on the bad guy's side is because he loves his nephew, and he's really just there. He is acting like he's helping Zuko capture the Avatar, but really he's just there to protect Zuko from himself and to protect Zuko from the Avatar, basically, because the Avatar is, which they don't know at the time, is an all-powerful being. And so he travels around the world helping his nephew capture the Avatar. And so now I'm going to play some of the messages or the words of wisdom that Iroh gives, and it can apply a lot. I don't get much from self-help books or anything like that, but I do get a lot of stuff from TV shows and movies. And so I figured I'd share with you guys some of the things that helped me out. And let me connect the phone up real quick. And as it loads. All right, here's the first one.
Draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nations will help you become whole.
That's pretty obvious. I've always loved meeting new people. I would love to travel more. I believe that if you find many people that are ignorant in their own beliefs, it's people that either haven't traveled more or don't have many friends that are different from them. And so, yeah, I try to do that. Here's one that I have the hardest time with, and I think a lot of us do. But Prince Zuko and Iroh are hiding away in the Earth Kingdom. People don't know that they're Fire Nation people, so they've just been hiding away. And Prince Zuko doesn't like it. They're basically kind of homeless, and he's a prince. He wants to get back to his honor being restored and everything.
It is a prison. I don't want to make a life here.
Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not. Perfect.
And I love that. Life happens wherever you are, whether you make it or not. No matter what you're going through, life is happening right now. And this is where I have a hard time because I'm always like, oh, if I could just be healed, if I could just have that new job, if I could just have the podcast take off, if I could just be this, or this, my life would be great. But life is happening right now, and I have to make life good. And it is whatever I make of it. And that's why I'm going to push forward. And this is another part that's great. It's a scene that has helped me out through this podcast and helped me out through here. I feel like I'm kind of rushing these, but I'm sorry. To set this up, Avatar Aang, believe it or not, is actually with Uncle Iroh in a cave. They're lost. They can't find their way. And so Uncle Iroh comes in with this advice.
Action and power are overrated. I think you are very wise to choose happiness and love. What are you?
Sorry, that was the wrong scene. Yeah, happiness and love. Now, you know my take on happiness, but I do like that he brought love into it. And so I will say this. If you're chasing happiness, you have to have love involved in that happiness. Love has to come into play with you chasing your own happiness. And if you're doing things that make you happy that don't have any love, then that's when it becomes empty happiness and you're just chasing things. This next one sticks out to me. I think it should stick out to all of you who have made mistakes. And it's about shame and pride. And Prince Zuko, as you guys know, he's a very troubled character. He takes out all of his trauma out on everybody. He takes it out on Avatar. He takes it out on his uncle. He takes it out on all the other characters in the show. He is just constantly angry with himself. And so instead of finding, his inner peace, he thinks that he just lashes out on people. That's what he does. If you watch the series, he's constantly angry. He's constantly trying to hurt others, fight others, cut people down. He yells at Uncle Iroh all the time. And so, yeah, here we go.
You must let go of your feelings of shame if you want your anger to go away.
But I don't feel any shame at all. I'm as proud as ever.
Prince Zuko, pride is not the opposite of shame, but its source. True humility is the only antidote to shame.
Yeah, I talked about all the people that lashed out their shame on me. A lot of times, I don't want to use her as an example all the times, but a lot of times she would tell me, like, I'm happier than ever. I don't feel any shame. I don't feel any guilt. So I must be doing the right thing. I'm just chasing my happiness, blah, blah, blah. And, I feel the same way sometimes. I have a lot of pride. But pride is just the symptom of shame. And we think we can just pride our way through our anger and pride our way through our shame and pride our way through our traumas, and that's going to get us through all of it. And it's not. It just isn't. And so the best way to get over your anger and your shame is through humility, is lowering yourself, is humbling yourself to saying that you messed up, to saying that you can't do this on your own, to saying that you need help. And I bring this up to on your own. Uncle Iroh runs into one of the good guy characters named Toph. She's an impressive earthbender who's blind, but she is also very proud and stubborn because she feels like everybody treats her differently because she's blind, and she doesn't want to be treated differently. She wants to be treated normal, and so she has a lot of pride. And so this is what Uncle Iroh had to say to her on pride. And
sharing tea with a fascinating stranger is one of life's true delights.
I lied. Sorry, I'm going through this video, and I'm thinking it's one scene and it's another. This is a scene where he accidentally, and it kind of goes along with this. He accidentally pokes a hole through somebody's window, through a rock, and so he has this advice for kids.
It is usually best to admit mistakes when they occur, and to seek to restore honor.
I preach that this entire vast part of this show, every episode. I try to live that way. I think everybody should live that way, that when you make a mistake, it is best to have humility and seek forgiveness and do what you can to make it right, to do what you can to restore your honor, to make your name whole again. That is not going to be done by being angry. It's not going to be done by harboring it. It's not going to be done by moving on with life. You're never going to do anything to free yourself of that guilt and shame until you humble yourself, own up to your mistake, and look to restore your honor, look to restore your name, look to make it right with the person that you made the mistake with. I don't know how to be any more clear about that. Now I'm hoping that this next one will be the top one with the blind girl. Yeah, here we go. Let me rewind it a little bit. Okay, here we go. Sorry.
People see me and think I'm weak. They want to take care of me, but I can take care of myself by myself.
You sound like my nephew, always thinking you need to do things on your own without anyone's support. There is nothing wrong with letting people who love you help you. Not that I love you. I just met you. The stomach.
That's why I'm here with this show, and that's why I continue to talk. That's why I continue to reach out, because I finally admitted to myself that I can't do this on my own, that this burden is truly too much to bear. It's just too much for me to bear. And I think you guys need to realize that too. A lot of people love to try to do this on their own and to not ask for help and to not seek out help from others. But you need the support. You need the community. You need the love of your family and friends. So stop being prideful and ask for help.
Of trouble, we could lose all the good things that are happening for us.
Good things that are happening for you. Have you ever thought that I want more from life than a nice apartment and a job serving tea?
There's nothing wrong with a life of peace and prosperity. I suggest you think about what it is that you want from your life and why.
I want my destiny.
What that means is up to you.
I know what you're gonna.
Yeah, I don't really need to go much into that. It's kind of self-explanatory. We're always so driven to get some things that we forget about the peace and prosperity of life. Again, it was one of the things that baffled me the most when Jen left, is she said she wanted somebody with a college degree and somebody who had drive and motivation and somebody who could own their own business or whatever. And I just didn't understand that aspiration of life. The peace and prosperity doesn't come from money and status and college degrees, that it comes from love and peace and care and kindness and family and having your son have somebody who cares and loves them, having a husband who cares and loves you. Yeah. So here's the scene where Aang and Iroh are stuck in the tunnel, and Aang seems a little hopeless.
Life is like this dark tunnel. You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place.
Have some tea. Why?
Yeah. Right now, I'm in a dark tunnel, and I don't believe it's ever going to end. I do not see the light at the end of the tunnel, And if you ask me, I don't believe there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm doing what Uncle Iroh says. Just keep moving forward. You don't have to see the light at the end of the tunnel to know it's there. Just keep moving forward, and eventually you will come to a better place. And I know one day I will. I have to tell myself one day I will, because like I said, right now I don't believe it. But yeah, I need to finally just keep moving. Just keep moving forward. Even if you don't believe it, just keep moving forward. Keep doing things that are healthy. Keep getting therapy. Keep doing the right thing. Keep doing the healthy thing. Keep acting out of love. Keep acting out of humility. Keep acting out of respect of others. And just keep getting yourself help. If it's not working right now, it will eventually. Don't give up. And so now, here's a couple of final scenes, and this is where Uncle Iroh and Zuko's relationship really starts coming to a head, because Zuko is still trying to chase down the Avatar, still trying to get his dad to be happy with him and everything else. And so he's still trying to do the wrong thing, because his dad is just a tyrant who wants to take over the world and kill everybody, and he's trying to emulate his dad. And now his uncle can no longer help him. Like, his uncle is finally deciding, I'm going to be on the right side, and I'm going to just really, instead of just kind of giving out words of wisdom, I'm going to start forcing him to make a decision as to what to do is right, is wrong. And so Zuko is now got the Avatars flying bison. He's about to take him, and he doesn't know what he's going to do. And like throughout the whole entire time, Zuko just acts out of impulse, acts out of anger. He does things that he thinks that need to be done now, and it blows up in his face, and he's about to do one of those. And so this following thing happened between Iroh and Zuko.
To ask you the same thing. What do you plan to do now that you've found the Avatar's bison? Keep it locked in our new apartment? Should I go put on a pot of tea for him?
First, I have to get it out of here.
And then what? You never think these things through. This is exactly what happened when you captured the Avatar at the North Pole. You had him, and then you had nowhere to go.
I would have figured something out.
No! If his friends hadn't found you, you would have frozen to death.
I know my own destiny, Uncle.
Is it your own destiny? Or is it a destiny someone else has tried to force on you?
Stop it, Uncle. I have to do this.
I'm begging you, Prince Zuko. It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want?
What would Uncle do? Zuko, you have to look within yourself to save yourself from your other self. Only then will your true self reveal itself.
Sorry, that last part was Zuko. I'll explain what that was later on, but that was him giving his uncle's advice to him. So to kind of wrap this up, the storyline goes like this. Zuko also has a sister. She's just as evil, if not more evil, than her dad. And they finally get together with the Avatar. And so, like I said, Iroh is finally like, I can't help Zuko anymore. I love him like my son, but I need to protect the Avatar. I need to protect the world. And Zuko has lost his way. I've tried everything I can. And so Zuko is left with a decision to either fight his Uncle Iroh or fight his sister. And he chooses to join sides with his sister because he still wants his dad's approval. He still wants that acceptance and love. And so the Avatar gets shocked by lightning, and he falls down, and another character named Katara takes him. And Iroh protects the Avatar from his sister and his nephew. And so they escape with the Avatar, and they think the Avatar is dead. And so they capture Uncle Iroh. He gives himself up after he sees that the Avatar is gone because he doesn't want to fight his nephew. So he gives himself up, and he's imprisoned. And now Prince Zuko is brought back to his palace. He meets his father. His father tells him he's proud. His sister tells him that he's the one that killed the Avatar because she believes the Avatar is still alive. And if he is still alive, then that shame will fall on Zuko. And so Zuko is still not happy. He's got everything he wants, and he's still not happy. And so he pays his uncle a visit inside of prison. And so this following conversation takes place.
You brought this on yourself, you know. We could have returned together. You could have been a hero. You have no right to judge me, Uncle. I did what I had to do in Ba Sing Se, and you're a fool for not joining me. You're not going to say anything? You're a crazy old man. You're crazy, and if you weren't in jail, you'd be sleeping in a gutter.
And so even the man who loved and supported Zuko this entire time, Zuko couldn't see it. And like I said, with everybody else lashing out their trauma on me, he's lashing out his trauma on his uncle. Because his uncle is, in a lot of ways, like me, where he's peaceful, he's kind, he has a big heart, and he loves unconditionally. And so he lashes out on him and calls him crazy because he didn't join him in his mistake. He didn't tell him he did a good job. And because he made the mistake, it's Uncle Iroh's fault that he made the mistake and that he did what he had to do, and that's what we do with our guilt. Like, I did what I had to do. I made the wrong choice because I had to make it, and now you're hurting, and I'm mad that you're hurting, and it's your fault, and you're crazy, and all this other stuff. And so we go through, and Zuko is on vacation. He's now got his prince restored. He's got a girlfriend. He has everything he's ever wanted, and they're having this big conversation by a fire, and it leads to Zuko saying this.
My life hasn't been that easy either, May.
Whatever. That doesn't excuse the way you've been acting.
Calm down, you guys. This much negative energy is bad for your skin. You'll totally break out.
Bad skin? Normal teenagers worry about bad skin. I don't have that luxury. My father decided to teach me a permanent lesson on my face.
Sorry, Zuko.
For so long, I thought that if my dad accepted me, I'd be happy. I'm back home now. My dad talks to me. He even thinks I'm a hero. Everything should be perfect, right? I should be happy now. But I'm not. I'm angrier than ever, and I don't know why.
There's a simple question you need to answer then. Who are you angry at?
No one. I'm just angry.
Yeah. Who are you angry at, Zuko?
Everyone. I don't know.
Is it Dad?
No.
Your uncle?
Me?
No.
Then who? Who are you angry at?
Answer the question, Zuko.
Talk to us.
Come on, answer the question.
Come on, answer it.
I'm angry at myself!
Why?
Because I'm confused. Because I'm not sure I know the difference between right and wrong anymore.
And there, where it really is, where it lies with all of us, with our trauma, with our abuse, with our neglect, with everything. We're angry with ourselves, and we're confused, and we don't know what's right and wrong anymore. And Zuko's inner struggle is something that we all can relate to, every single one of us. And eventually, Zuko finds his way on his own. He leaves his kingdom. I think he ends up fighting his dad again and somehow escapes. And he joins the Avatar. And I'm not going to play you the scenes there, but basically, they don't trust him. He comes to them. He spent an entire 3 seasons chasing them down, trying to kill them, trying to capture them. And so it took a lot on both parts to resolve that issue. And they finally resolve it through peace and love and humility. And so he joins the Avatar side, and throughout the entire season, he's helping them out. But he doesn't see his uncle, not until towards the end of the show. And when he does finally get to where his uncle is, he goes outside of his tent, and he has this conversation with Katara, one of the other people.
Where is he?
Your uncle's in there, Prince Zuko.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. My uncle hates me, I know it. He loved me and supported me in every way he could. And I still turned against him. How can I even face him?
Zuko,
You're sorry for what you did, right?
More sorry than I've been about anything in my entire life.
Then he'll forgive you. He will.
So then he goes into the tent, and his uncle is sleeping, and so he waits until morning. He just sits by his bed, and when Uncle Iroh wakes up, he sees his son. This is what you can't see because you're on the radio. He sees his nephew, and he's still hurt. He could see the anguish on his face, and he never turns to face him. And so finally, this conversation happens.
Uncle, I know you must have mixed feelings about seeing me. But I want you to know, I am so sorry, Uncle. I am so sorry and ashamed of what I did. I don't know how I can ever make it up to you, but How can you forgive me so easily? I thought you would be furious with me.
I was never angry with you. I was sad because I was afraid you lost your way.
I did lose my way.
But you found it again. And you did it by yourself. And I am so happy you found your way here.
It wasn't that hard, Uncle. You have a pretty strong scent.
Oh, God, that scene gets me every time. The reality is we're all Zuko. We all have our own stuff that makes us angry and ashamed and hurt, and we mess up and we take our traumas out on other people. And the reality is we all need to be like Zuko at the end of the day. We need to finally figure out why we're so angry with ourselves, and we need to come to peace with ourselves, and then we need to come to peace with those that we've hurt. And then on the other flip side, I want to be like Uncle Iroh. At the end of the day, Jen, my dad, the other person, I can't say like Uncle Iroh did that he wasn't angry, because I have been angry, and I have every right to be, but the overwhelming feeling that I have is just sadness for them. Sadness that they lost their way. Sadness that they're hurting so bad. Sadness that they are hurting themselves so bad in different forms. And I've said it before, I just wish I could get that sort of apology from any of them. The apology that Zuko gave, the one with humility and respect and owning up to it. Because I want to give them that hug that Uncle Iroh gave Zuko. I want to be Uncle Iroh. A lot of times I'm Zuko. A lot of times I'm Aang. But at the end of the day, I want to be Uncle Iroh. I want to be the guy who finds peace and humility and healing from his grief, that he just acts in kindness and love throughout his entire life and helps other people. So I'll end the show on that. Be Uncle Iroh. If you're having suicidal thoughts, please don't do anything. Reach out and get help before you do anything else. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That's 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-8255, or you can text HOME to 741-741, HOME 741-741 if you're not in the U.S. You can go to you can go to suicide.org, scroll down to the third part of the page, and you can click the links there. That text home to 741-741 is also serving the UK, so you can do that there if you're in the United Kingdom. Or you can reach out to me, battleinsidepodcast at scoutteamradio.com. That's email, battleinsidepodcast, one word, at scoutteamradio.com. You can reach out to me for help. You can reach out to me for support. You can reach out to me, even if you're not suicidal, you can reach out to me and say, Chris, I'm having a bad day. I'm here to listen. I'm here to help. That's why I'm doing the show. I want to do for others. I believe that was another line from Uncle Iroh that I couldn't find, but he said something like, when you're having a hard time, the best thing to do is to help those who are also having a hard time. And that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast. So we'd love to hear from you. If you don't want to email me, you can hit me up on Twitter at @TheChrisAmerica, or at BattleInsidePod. That's going to be the end of the show. I'm going to wrap it up. Kept it under an hour and a half this time. So let me bring up my music. Probably going to have to go through a commercial. So please bear with me. Oh, good. It's not a commercial. It's it's one of those stupid surveys. Reach out for help. Just like Uncle Iroh said, you may not see the end of the tunnel, but it's there. Just keep moving forward. Keep going to therapy. Keep talking to your friends. Keep acting in love. Keep acting in humility. Choose the high road more times than you choose the low road. And ask for forgiveness. And give forgiveness. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Peace.